Welcome everyone. This is another video in the CYF Course series, and this time we are going to look at how we can safeguard children. There is already one video that talks about abuse, what it is and what we can do, but we really don't want abuse to happen. So we need to safeguard our children. And how can we do that in our ministries? That's what we are going to look at in this video. Why should we safeguard our children? Why should we keep our children safe? Why should we protect them? We have a job to do, and we have a mandate from the Lord, because in Psalms 127:3 we read that children are a gift from the Lord, a reward from a mother's womb. And it doesn't say your child, my child. It says children, meaning all children are a gift from the Lord. And the gift we want to keep safe. For a gift we want to care. But also in Matthew 18:6, Jesus says, if one of these little children believes in me and someone causes that child to sin, it will be very bad for that person. It would be better for them to have a millstone tied around their neck and be drowned in the deep sea. I don't know if you have ever imagined this picture, but if you have a millstone around your neck, you don't swim. You will definitely drown. So Jesus threatens people with certain death if they cause children to stumble and sin, if they misuse children. This is serious. I've not really come across much more in the Bible that was more serious than this verse. So Jesus gives his children as a gift, and he's very clear that he wants for us to care for them and to keep them safe. Now, how do we do that? How do we keep children safe in our ministries, in our workplaces, in our whatever, or children's homes, wherever we work? How do we keep children safe? There are actually a few things that we can do to keep children safe. There are preventative measures. The most important one is never to be alone with a young person. What does that mean? If you are in a room with one child, leave the door open. Don't close the door, so that people who walk past can easily look in and see, oh, they're just talking, or they're doing some work together. So never close the door. Always make others see what you're doing with a child. So never be alone with a little child. Also, let's say you need to go shopping. Don't just take one child with you. Take 2 children with you, or 3, and go shopping with them. Don't be alone with a child. If you really need to have a meeting that needs some quietness, inform another adult. Tell another staff member that you have to talk with this child, that you will sit in the room, again, if in any way possible, with open door, and talk with the child. But then the other person knows, yes, you have informed the person, you have no bad intentions, you need to have a private talk with the child. And sometimes that's very important. It's also important that not 2 adults are alone with one child, because if there are bad intentions, 2 people can abuse a child. Maybe here we wouldn't talk about sexual abuse, but if a person feels a child has done something wrong and needs punishment, two people can punish a child. So we don't want two adults alone with a child either. Have a strategy for summoning someone else if you need help. If in a situation you are alone with a child, what do? How can you call someone to come and help you? Also, make sure that you are not putting yourself in a situation that might lead to allegations being made against you. We work with children who are at risk, and children who are at risk, who have experienced bad things, can be very mean to others too. And if they want to do something against you, they might accuse you of abuse. I know one case which is not a big deal, but actually the consequences were quite big, where a young woman was teaching a class of teenagers in a country where, as a teacher, as a children's minister, you are absolutely not allowed to touch children. No, that's the case in that country. A teenager made that young woman really angry, behaved really badly, and finally she grabbed his arm. But, she was not allowed to touch him at all. And so the teenager, who was angry that this young woman had actually told him what to do and what not to do, went to the school principal, said, "This young woman has touched me, and she's not supposed to touch me." And the consequences of that were that the ministry who used to go there and teach Bible lessons to the teenagers lost their permission to come to the school again to continue to teach Bible lessons. So it was in a way a small incident. The young woman was accused of being abusive, and they completely lost the chances to go there and teach Bible lessons to the young people. So make sure you don't put yourself in a situation that might lead to allegations being made against you. And so if you are going to a room with a child alone, you are really putting yourself into a dangerous situation. And like in this example, this is not only about you, about the child, it's about your ministry. It might be about your organization. If you behave stupidly, even if you don't have any bad intentions, but if you're not wise, you put yourself and your whole ministry in danger. And, of course, the children too. So be wise in the way you're acting. It's also important that you don't maintain contact with a child that comes to your ministry outside of the agreed activities, without the knowledge of the child's parents or legal guardians. So if you run a children's club, in the children's club, of course, the child will be with you, you will meet the child, you will interact with the child, but without the parents of that child knowing, you are not supposed to meet the child outside, like to agree with the child that next Saturday you will go together to a shopping mall or whatever. If the parents agree that you are doing that, then it's the responsibility of the parents. But make sure, if you want to do anything like that, you do it only with the permission of the parents or the legal guardian. The same is true for any kind of internet contacts, be it on WhatsApp or be it on Facebook. You can only be Facebook friends or WhatsApp or have WhatsApp contacts if the parents of that child know about it and have agreed that you do so. Otherwise, there are too many people around who are abusing children exactly through the internet, through different chat groups, and we don't want to be in any danger of being put in the same category. So make sure, if you do that, that you have the agreement of the parents. And also, be very vigilant. If you witness any behavior that you see with someone else, maybe a team member or a guest in your ministry, that causes you to be concerned about the welfare of a child. If you see a team member or a guest singling out a child, taking a child to the side, intervene. Tell that person, remember, we don't do that. Tell that guest, I'm sorry, but we have child protection policies in place. You're not supposed to do that. So be very vigilant. Be vigilant if a child comes to you and talks to you and says, that person, that member of the staff did something to me that I didn't like. Don't just dismiss it. Don't just say, oh, you imagined that. Oh no, this person would never do that. Oh, I have known this person for a long time. I have known people for some time, and then it turned out that they had abused children. So don't think because you know someone, that person cannot abuse a child. So if you see something, if you hear something that concerns the welfare of the child, take action. Talk with your team leader. Talk with the person who is in charge. One other thing that we need, and that is very important, is that we have a safeguarding policy in our ministry. What is a safeguarding policy? Maybe you have one, you know it, fine, great. But maybe you say, we don't have anything like that. What is it? Why do we need that? We need a policy that clearly states that in our ministry we will protect children, that in our ministry we have decided to keep children safe because of what God tells us, because of what we have to do. Children have rights. Children have the right to be safe from all harm. So we need a policy that tells everyone who works with us in our ministry that A, we keep children safe, that we have clear preventative measures, like the one I shared, never being alone with a child, and so on, that we will follow in our ministry. We need for everyone to be clear what is abuse. Not everyone will be clear about spiritual abuse or emotional abuse, or maybe coming from a background where hitting a child as a measure to correct a child is normal and acceptable. So we have a policy that clearly states all that. And at the end of the policy, that everyone that comes to our ministry and works with us needs to read, we will have a signature page where the person says, I have read the policy. I'm aware of the policy. I know that in this ministry, children are kept safe. And I'm also aware that if I'm abusing a child, I will not walk away free. There will be steps, also steps including the law, that these steps will be taken. I might be judged. I might be ending up in jail if I abuse a child sexually. So people know, and ministries that have safeguarding policies and talk about it and make everyone aware these ministries are not attractive for people who have in mind to abuse children. They will stay away because they know that in this ministry, if I do something that is bad for the child, I will not walk away free. So I better stay away from this ministry. But often in Christian ministries, we are so, we are Christians, everybody is nice and everybody loves the children and nothing bad will happen and God will protect. And we are very naive. And that's very attractive for people who want to abuse children. And there are people out there who want to use and abuse children. And so we need to have a policy that tells everyone clearly, not in my ministry, not under my watch. So besides having this policy, we will need a behavioral protocol in case of alleged abuse. We will have some training for our staff so that everybody really understands the different kinds of abuse and the behavior towards our children. And we need to know the laws in our country. It's good to have addresses of child welfare, addresses of lawyers, addresses of counselors that will help us if anything happens. Let's hope that because we have a policy and because we make it clear and because everybody signs and the leader of the ministry needs to keep those signature pages in a file so we know and we can prove that the person knows about our policies. And let's hope that then we can keep our children safe from all harm in our ministries. And you will also see a few questions here where you can think about it, about your ministry, about things you have seen, how do you keep children safe, and also if you need help in getting a child protection policy, you can write to us and we will be able to help you.